Okay, so it's been a little while. I am back. We're going to start trying to do a little bit of content again. I'm going to be trying Axis Focus for a little bit here. So I was kind of waiting until I had an Axis game to go, and here we go. I have a Axis game in my round 3 of my club teams. And the interesting thing with my club team is that I do have Devin on our team. So the currently number 1 Axis, he's had several good years of being up at the very top of the ranked ladder. Now, I'm one, I don't really believe the ranked ladder is the best players, because I know there's a ton of what I consider the absolute best players that don't play ranked, myself included. As you can see, I have no games played in ranked this season yet at all. I'm hoping at the end of the season to run a blitz run through Axis games just to get some Axis content going. But here we go. We are in round 3, and so we've got the bad guy, also known as SekuN on Discord, and we're going to give this a go. So and the reason I mentioned having Devin on my team is he does a very specific tank rush. We're going to at least start the game out with his tank rush because, well, Russia had a very good R1. He's got 7 infantry living and a artillery living, as well as the 3 tanks, and threw the AA into Ukraine. So a very strong Russia 1. Interestingly, in our allied team game, which I'm on the allies, we had the same one. They did a 7-2-1 buy for Germany, tried to kill Ukraine, and they lost 6 infantry, a tank, and a fighter, and 1 tank of ours still lived. So that makes me nervous. So I'm deciding I'm gonna go with the tank rush approach instead, and get a free kill on the AA and hopefully kill these very fast and efficiently without many losses. And yeah, so we're gonna see how this goes. You may know I have only played a few tank rush games. I feel like I'm a very strong Axis player. Just playing, I normally play a 7-2-1 Axis, and I feel very comfortable with that. But this is one of those situations where I can't get into G1 and I can't get into Ukraine, and I'd have to play very back conservative. And against the very good players, when you're putting just ones up on the front, you're asking to lose. So I'm gonna go with this. Yeah, we're gonna go with the tank rush buy here. So the thing that I'm not a huge fan. So Devin obviously is extremely good at his Axis play. He hasn't played allies much yet. I'm going to follow his playbook to start with. There's some things I do disagree with him a little bit on, a few small principles and whatnot. And this is one of them. I'm not a big fan of doing 5-1. I've become a 6-0 kind of guy, but he's rather insistent on the 5-1, and he explained it all out. I'm not going to go into all the details here. Maybe if I stick with it, I'll talk more about the 5-1 concept. But basically, his take on it is that that with the no infantry and needing that quick pressure on Russia and the fast advancement, you got to have the UK not landing on the first round. I don't know. I'm going with it. I'm going with his playbook for the moment, and we'll see how it goes. This is going to be a very tough game anyway, so we're gonna go play it by his playbook to start with. So this is where we're sitting now, and I'm just gonna double check things real quick. And yeah, I think we are good to go. We got these 2 bounds, we got these. We do want to do 10 before we do get to this guy, so. This is the other thing. I feel weird splitting my battleship and my transport. I feel like I'd rather keep my battleship with my transport and make the allies have to work to kill the the transport, but the battleship itself, it means that they can put off the battleship. And oh my goodness, this is taking a long time. I'm thinking my roll has locked up. Right, first time back and had a little bit of technical difficulty. My internet had actually dropped out. So, it actually dropped out before even my purchase, so I had to go back and reset and do everything. So I redid all that, came in, took my first roll where we left off, and my battleship missed. Thank sevens, that wasn't a very good destroyer, or else we would have lost our battleship there. Alright, this is a big battle. Really want to get his destroyer. I'd love to get his transport too, but really want to get his destroyer out. Nice. Oh, nice, nice. And now this is a very big battle. We need this cleanly. This one we'd like to keep the subs alive. Oh. He may frown on this, but I'm going to do that. Too many boats alive to risk this. Son of a gun. Yep. Oh, whew, the battleship missed. I'll be okay with that. I do not like 5 attacks. I don't mind the sub living. That's not. There's worse things than that, certainly. And the idea is that in an ideal world, you know, we survive, we have our sub survive, and then UK has a hard time getting a fleet off. But it's more important that we win. So. Alright, we need some big hits. We want 5 hits right out the bat. By us, not them. Just to clarify. There we go. Nice. Alright, whiffs. Okay, 2. You know what? I'm okay with that. Alright, let's see if I can remember the right moves here now. Oops, not that infantry. Already clicking wrong. Let's take that infantry. Send them on up there. I think he stacks this. I need to double check myself. I believe he sends everything on up that way. I feel like he does. Oops. I kind of like that. I think he takes one from Berlin, but I'm going to go there. Since he has no transports alive at all, I'm just going to put the AAA because I don't think he's going to want to take 3 shots at me. So the AA alone with no infantry there is kind of nice to be able to do. Oh wait, we don't want that, do we? Where do we want these 3 guys? I'm not sure. I'm going to double check if he sends these Baltics or Poland. I feel like we need them in Poland to properly threaten here. So I'm going to do this to start with, but I'm going to double check before I hit anything here. Yes, we do need to send this so that they don't do the UK bomber kill there and then blitz a tank and then put an infantry and then crush Karelia with it isolated. Here they'd have to blitz a tank and use a fighter, and that would be a little bit more riskier for them to consider. Alright, I think we're good to go on this. I've not been playing near as much as I normally do. My work got a little bit more crazy, and so that means I've been I've been rusty. I haven't been as focused. I've made a lot of mistakes in my first 2 rounds of game, so expect to catch my mistakes, especially when I'm doing something I'm not as familiar with. So we'll see how this goes. But away we go. So the nice thing here, I mean, because he had the 7 live, he has an okay shot at strafing Ukraine decently. The limited attacks, if he attacks up here, then we get an easy stack, and possibly, I don't know if we could go into Ukraine, but possibly I can't remember exactly how it all works out. It's been a while since I've even played against it, so but yeah, the good news is if he goes all in and wipes it, we've got these 4 units plus 10 tanks, and of course our air coming back into counter, so we can just go into a bloodbath mode. But Axis would have advantage, the early advantage, especially since we sank that guy. So now we got five fighters. He doesn't have any transports here. That was a big part. The fact there's no transports. I expect to see him do a carrier transport drop, giving him and move his cruiser in. That would give him 4. I'd have to decide whether I take the 5 on against or not. But he's going to need transports pretty quickly, so we'll see what he does. All right, so here we go for Japan 1. If you recall, on Germany 1, we said this is going to be a tough game because they had 7 infantry live in West Russia, plus they had artillery, 3 tanks, and an AA in Ukraine. So we said this was going to be a tough game. We decided to go with the tank rush. UK 1 took their turn, and now the game is saying, screw you. This is going to be a very hard game. You better pray to the dice gods if you want to have a chance in this game. So basically, UK, their purchase was carrier transport. So they had the carrier transport, the aggressive buy here. 2 infantry and artillery. That does give me the option of 5 versus the 4 because the sub won't be able to defend. If I should choose to take that on Germany's turn, the sub obviously is going to get wiped out by the U.S. destroyer. So combat-wise, they went C-Zone 37 and killed the 2 naked transports, and C-Zone 37 ended up with this still living there. So now we're staring at a tough situation because when you look at it, we lost a carrier, battleship, 2 fighters. I'll call that 4.5 units. You can almost call that a 5 with the battleship, but I give it at least a 4.5. And they lost 2 units, the sub and cruiser. So looking at it that way, we're 2.5 units behind already. Compared to a, quote, normal UK 1 outside of C-Zone 37, you would expect to have all 4.5 units of the Japan Navy there, and their sub-cruiser would be out of the picture because most times the sub-cruiser are going out to the Atlantic. And a lot of times this cruiser carrier go to 61, and so that is not the case in this game. So I'm going to call this we're behind 4.5 units compared to normal in a KJF versus US. We did get to keep our destroyer, so that makes us at minus 3.5. But then at the same time, again, they've got their cruiser carrier that normally wouldn't be an advantage, so that puts us back to minus 5.5. So we're like 5.5 behind a quote normal KJF unit count going on here. So our J1 build is going to have to be a little more focused, because normally J1 build is going to be 3 transports and some ground. So no units, no Air Force Navy units. I'm going to go ahead and we're going to build 2 subs and a fighter. So we're going to build 3 units in there that normally aren't built at this point. So we'll take that 6.5 back to a 3.5, negative 3.5. And that's where we're going to be playing this game from. So we're already 3.5 units back in this sense. And this is all just quick talking and math. I'm not getting super technical on AP, DP, and all the different KJF strategies that are out there and whatnot. So, take it for what it's worth. If it's just, I'm talking about just a Japan versus US KJF, in which case I think Japan should win every single time. So being 3.5 units back probably, puts it where a Japan just versus US is a US advantage now by a little bit. But, we got a little bit of wiggle room because Japan has the advantage to start in the beginning of just a KJF that is just US versus Japan. Of course, he does have this fleet here. So, a couple strategies went through my mind. One, try to get Germany into Caucasus right away as fast as possible, potentially G2. I did a estimation if Russia builds 4 infantry, 4 artillery, as I would expect them to. Actually, I'm going to say into West Russia because he landed his bomber here, so he's obviously going to be moving his Russian. He's going to be stacking here and leaving 1 infantry in West Russia. So he'll be stacking West Russia, if we moved everything into West Russia, we would need at least 3 J fighters to come in there. I'm not opposed to moving J fighters in a KJF in the early rounds to help advance the German movement. But in this case, we're down to 4 J fighters, and we're going to talk about what else I need them to do. So there's that is the one option, is I could just completely turtle, let US and let UK kind of run rampant in the pack and just get Germany into Caucasus or into West Russia, and then from West Russia to hopefully to Caucasus pretty quickly. That is option 1, and maybe that is the better way to go. But I am choosing not to go that route. I want to try and delay the UK and US, and hopefully we can still continue with a G7, G8 timing on Moscow. I don't know. I'm not planning out the math out that much. You did have the extra guy there, so I don't know. We'll see what comes of all of that. So in the Pacific, speaking specifically of the Pacific, anytime that you have UK and US, the number one thing the Allies wants to do is get those fleets united, stacked together. So right now, after Japan goes, they can both, this fleet and this fleet could reach 45. And potentially stack there, if you will. So that's a concern. If I went to 61 with my fleet, now he's got bomber here, carrier cruiser, 2 fighters. So he's got 5 units, unless I use a destroyer block already. He's got 5 units threatening 61 and 36. So if I'm going to go 61 or 36, it's pretty much going to need to take my whole fleet into there. Unfortunately, 62, the plan I did have, I could stack it away from the bomber as long as I took this guy, but these 2 fighters can reach 62 with the 1, 2, 3 landing on a carrier. Possible suicidal route if we went that way option. And I may give him the option that would draw his carrier in to sacrifice a transport. I kind of think, now that I think about it, I might do that. But either of those moves, he can move here, he can move here. He's going to have his unified stack fleet on US2, or actually on UK2. They're already going to have a unified fleet. And then they're going to quickly move into the islands with the extra fleet going there. Another spot I tend to like is 48 for in a KJF defense. 48 is a pretty decent spot to be in with the Japan fleet. But he could put the destroyer on 49, and then he'll have carrier, 2 fighters, destroyer. So that's 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8 surface ships that could go into 45. I could do a Pearl Light and come into here. I'm a little nervous about Pearl Lights right now, especially when I'm already low on planes. Because another thing, a second part in addition to preventing the Allied fleet from combining, I want to preserve my islands as long as I can, and he's already got a 2 infantry transport threatening DEI on UK2. A lot of times I'm okay with the UK ends up taking islands here, but not on UK2. UK2 is too early. We need that income for Japan just a little bit longer. So we got to defend that too. Which is why I plan on landing a couple fighters on DEI, which means I couldn't do the West Russia support. If I did the West Russia support, I'd be allowing them to combine fleets and take DEI on UK2. And I think that's just, even with getting the early West Russia to Caucasus, hopefully, I think that's just giving up too much too fast. So I don't want to go that route. I was going to build a transport, use my battleship destroyer, come into 62, use my other fleet to come down this way, is what I was leaning towards. Instead, I'm saving the 7. I'm not going to build the transport. Reason being, when it comes down to it, again, 48 wasn't going to work, so my next spot is 47. Potentially 49, but 47 is better than 49, because at least 47, what we'll do if we come in and stack 47 is we can push these guys back, plus we've got 2 routes to India, so we could hopefully dead zone 35 to prevent any further UK Navy support. Plus landing in 47 prevents the transport from doing a 2 infantry versus 1 infantry attempt on Borneo. So there's that benefit to it as well. So I plan on going Navy 47. Now, again, they can have 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 units in Sea Zone 45. If I did 1, 2, 3, 4, then I would have 5, 6, 7, 8 with the fighters and 9 with the bombers. And because they have 4 4-unit defenders, that is still favored for them. So I need another boat down here to help. So I need the battleship down here as well, which meant not protecting 62 versus 2 fighters and potentially a bomber. So we're going to just save 8, actually, because even though I thought about buying another sub or a destroyer now, he could still turn this into a KGF, right? If I just went too aggressive there. This leaves me 8 that I could buy the transport I normally would be buying now to have 3 transports. I can save, and I can buy, more units next turn if I need to in that regards. Coming down to 47 with one of my transports allows me, if he went to KGF, I'm sure he would defend India, but we could go immediately into Australia and start taking Australia. So that's going to be what I decided to play. We're not going to support Germany going here. We're going to have Germany stack here, trade trade West Russia. Hopefully, with that meaning, we can also stack Karelia at the same time is the plan for the German turn. So a lot of talking there, but here we go. We're buying 2 subs and a fighter, and we're going to save 8. By the way, I didn't mention, my game playing has been significantly less lately. I have not actually got a lot of games I can reflect back on when a C-Zone 37's gone this bad for the Axis to really decide what would be the appropriate. I'm making this up as I go. I did not go digging through Discord. I know there's been lots of discussions on it in the past. I did not go just digging to try to guess. I could have sent a destroyer, 2 fighters, and a bomber, but then we're really just neutering Japan Navy even more versus units that it shouldn't be fighting to start with, and the U.S. is going to be very strong. By coming to 47, I'm dead zoning 45, preventing them from unifying, and this fleet's dead zone, so this fleet's going to have to back up. I'm also dead zoning 35, so he can't really go there. So hopefully the idea of coming to 47 is that we push him away. Now, he could sneak around underneath to 39, and then do 44 and then build up, but at least we delay it for a turn if he decides to go that route. So I want to go ahead and use this transport since I'm not leaving any boats here. I want to take this strong enough that Russia can't take it so that the bomber can't reach. 1, 2, 3, 4. Wait, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. I'm like, wait. So they're not going to be able to take either of these. For me to do what I plan with my fighters, I can't use either of these 2 fighters in the combat move phase. So that's what's going to make this a little bit more tough. And I can't even use a fighter down on this guy. We can do that because these 2 fighters are going to be landing on DEI. We can't go there because that'd be 1, 2, 3. Can't make it. We can go here. 1, 2, 3, 4. These guys 1, 2, 3, 4. He can't make it to C-Zone 47. So this is where it's going to get a little bit ick. And not something I'd like to do in a game, but oh, you know what? I don't want to use this transport, though. I want to use this transport. So, since I'm going to have a naked transport there, this fighter can't reach. That's 4. This fighter, 1, 2, 3, won't have anywhere to land. So, he's okay. The bomber, like I said, won't be able to reach. So it's just these 2 fighters, which if he sent the fighter's gonna live, so it'd have to land in 61, and he'd have to bring his carrier in. And with me sitting in 47 and my builds, I'll be able to wipe it. So if he wants to kill a transport and sacrifice his UK carrier, I'll take it. Unfortunately, I think that is it. Now, another consideration you're going to see in my non-combat move is I really want to try to dead zone 59, 58. So we're going to have 3 fighters and a bomber that can reach there automatically, and the 2 subs that we build. So that's 6 units that we're going to have hitting there. He's got 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7.5. That he can put in there. So we're going to position a sub and a destroyer in 48, which again, he can send the cruiser to kill it. He could send 2 fighters at risk, but then they wouldn't have anywhere to land that the carrier would be safe. So if he wants to trade the cruiser for a destroyer, again, I'm just going to accept that. But that sub destroyer being able to come back will make it be a slightly in my favor 50-50 battle if he was to land in 59. If he went 58, he'd have to do fighters before carrier, and I would have even a little bit better than the 50-50 shot at it. And at the game state, I most likely would take a 50-50 shot unless something strange happens in Europe. This is my biggest fear of this battle, is there. But I'm hoping we can get a 1-roll kill. It'd be nice to get a 1-roll kill in all 3 land battles because we really need that. All right, one roll kill there. Good. Or 4 battles. 4 land battles, sorry. Not a 1 roll kill there. But only 1 hit back. I'll be happy with that. All right, 1 roll kill there. Good. And a take, even better. And this is the one that I'm really hoping for a 1 roll kill with 4 dice rolling. All right. Well, we got the 1 roll kill at least. We trust that. Infantry bomber, he'd have to. Oh, wait, he's got his transport. No, we're just going to put him back on there. I hate spaghetti lines. I think this looks okay. That should be sub-destroyer. This is battleship, carrier, destroyer, cruiser. That is 6 units, 4, yeah. Oop, we need to change that. We should be good with fighter before carrier right now. Where are you on test? Oh yeah, I didn't check this before the game started. I don't even know what that was. I don't know. Those are my unique ones. I don't know how they are my starting ones. I should have checked that, I suppose. There we go. So like I said, he could kill that transport, but he'd have to move them in, and I'd be able to hit him with the battleship to absorb a shot. So I would take that bout. He could take this shot. 2-2 and a cruiser's not bad odds against 2-2. But at least I have my transport here that I could retake it with my fleet and just do what we can from that point. So there we go. Okay, so U.S.-Russia went, so U.S. is actually switching over to the KGF, seeing that I built 2 subs and 1 transport, or no transports. Since I built no transports, I do have 2 transports going, but I did the 2 sub, 1 fighter buy. He's taking advantage of the slow Japan and going to switch to a KGF, and these guys are going to probably retreat that way, and so he's going to have 4 carriers already going, so he's going to have a very strong setup, including a strong med shuck going with thin shuck probably at the same time pretty easily, and Japan's going to be slow on the ground units. At least we do have 5 fighters and a bomber. Because we're going to be slow on the ground. Now, we're going to be fast in our development here, because we're going to go here. I'm going to be able to build 2 transports and a factory next turn. So we'll really just be 1 transport behind on J2, but will be the units that we haven't shucked so far on J1 and J2 behind. So it'll be, we're going to feel the pinch there. So we're going to hope we can get some Air Force going and getting them over. And we're definitely going to be trying the whole orange sky approach and hope we can create something there. The frustrating part is the fact that although we'll still be able to stack Ukraine, so he has to stay in Caucasus, we're not going to have a great follow-up after that. So we're definitely going to have to get our planes on the ground if we're going to try to hold Ukraine and make him stay in there and continue to trade West Russia. We're well behind because he had a very good good strafe. I won't say very good strafe. So his strafe, I lost 9 units. He lost 5, but he did lose a fighter in it. So it's still overall positive for him, even with the loss of a fighter for Russia. It still hurt me more. So, and it's going to make getting an advanced stack even more difficult. We will get the Karelia stack at least right off the bat and start building units in there. But otherwise, it's going to be tough. So my thoughts with this is I want to try to slow down the Medchuk even by 1 turn if I can, and or Finchuk. What I don't want him to do is immediately on round 2 go UK here, US here, and have Free Willy. So I'm going to actually build a bomber, even though I did a tank by G1. So I'm going to be even still really low on infantry that we're really going to be having to push forward. And at the same time, I'm going to try and stack Northwest Europe still. Hopefully, again, he'll only be able to get 1 C-zone stack unless he builds more boats with UK, because he'll need to send at least the sub and cruiser if he wants to try to stack 13. So yeah, my goal is just to slow down the Medchuk by 1 turn to try to get J up and going. Maybe it's not worth it, but I do like my bomber, and I'm planning on having a lot of J air, so hopefully we have a lot of air, which he's going to have a lot of boats and a lot of carriers already living, so it's going to be tough. This is just a tough start between the tough R1, the tough C-Zone 37, and now the tough Ukraine strafe. It's going to be hard to come back in this game, but we're going to do what we can. So in any case, I'm going to build 10 infantry, and I'm going to build a bomber. I'm going to do a super crazy move here and just tack with the infantry because I'm going to give him a dicey take as is on Northwest Europe. So, yeah. I do want to go ahead and take the freebie. But I'm going to need all 5 fighters, the AA, both these infantry, and I'm moving a tank back. And he'll have this transport, air, bomber, cruiser. So he'll have 5 units of UK. And actually, I need to relook at this. I think I gave him extra units that he doesn't have. Yeah, no, I still need all 5 fighters and a tank coming back to stack in a way that I feel okay with, and it's going to give him a 50-50 shot here, a shot where he could dig into the fighters here. Anyways, so yeah, not ideal situations, but we're just going to roll with it. Maybe I do want to take 1 fighter. Since I'm leaving a tank back. He could dig in, but he'd have to lose. I mean, he'd be losing overall. He's looking at 20. Just to try and get me down to a handful of fighters. I could save infantry when I'm short on infantry. I'm still going to be giving him a nice shot at a potential profitable battle in Ukraine. It's just slightly in my favor, but now the dice have been going. It may be worth a shot, especially the round one round strafe on it is about even Steven. Round 2, 3, 4, and on is slightly in my favor, but how dice have been going, you may want to take that shot. What do I want to do down here? I was thinking about stacking up and having it hit here, but I think we'll hold off on that. And we'll take the points. I'm going to hopefully just try to dead zone 13. He could put the cruiser in to block my battleship, so I'm going to move my battleship to 15, by the way. He just has fighter bomber. He could put the cruiser in to block my battleship and then stack there, and I wouldn't attack it, but he'd be sacrificing his cruiser. I don't know if he wants to sacrifice a cruiser or not. I could move them in here and have 4 units there. We're not going to have pressure on India, so he's going to be free to kind of keep these units hanging and back into Egypt, so we're not really going to get through Egypt either. If we had 4 units and 6 air, he could bring 4 more, 6. And 2 planes, 7, 8. He could fly those planes. I don't know what I'm going to do with that yet. Let's just get this done here real quick. Come on. Come on. Just roll the dice. Come on. How many 4s can a fighter roll? Good gracious. That was more stressful than it needed to be. How many rounds was that? 6 rounds for a fighter to hit. Whew. But we took it, so in the end, it is what it is. Gonna move him there, him there, him there. We're gonna move 1. Everything else we are moving, we can to. Ooh, you know what? We can put him in there. That'll make Ukraine more us favored. I'm going to see if I can move a couple of these to Belarusia to be working their way towards here next turn. And I got to think about this real quick. So I did make a mistake and goofed because I bought that bomber thinking I was going to have 5 fighters here. 2 threatened season 13, and I used my fighter over here, which was anyways, I made a mistake. I'm still going to defend Northwest Europe, but at least he can't. I still think he'll have a hard time doing both, but he'll be able to do 13, unfortunately. And if he lands everything there, he can bring an AA, and I'm not going to attack there. So we'll stay forward this way. Now the question is more, do I want to leave the guy there or just go ahead and stack him to let him blitz free there, or make him attack it? I mean, he'll be able to use these guys in a bomber. I think we just conserve our units as much as we can. Alright, yeah, that's frustrating that I goofed up the fighter. I could put the fighter up here. putting the fighter up here at least does more for that. And I'll go back to giving him the 50-50 up here, because the fighter down here is not helping anything on the seas. And that would mean I could move... What's that give me? 4 infantry, AA, and a fighter. That should be more than enough. Versus anything he'll being infantry, artillery, 2 fighters, a bomber, cruiser that you could bring in there. Yep, we're going very thin here. We're going to invite some dice. So, there we go. Let him bring the dice. I goofed that. So, we're just going to go with it. Bring on the dice. There we go. Okay, so here we go, getting ready for Japan 2, And a quick rundown of UK's turn. They bought a destroyer that they dropped here in Sea Zone 8. Bought a fighter that they put on the island, which I'm going to talk... At first, I scratched my head a little bit on that, but I think I know where that's going now. Infantry artillery tank down for India. So, as you can see, he came in and stacked Egypt. Not entirely surprised. I haven't fully deformed my Germany plan because it's going to partially depend on what West Russia's looking like. I'll explain that too in just a moment. And what they do here with the U.S. fleet. So my suspicion, the reason for this biter, I think he's going to go ahead, put the cruiser ahead, and bring these 4 on in here. Maybe even the destroyer too. If I was him, I'd probably put the destroyer 2 there because I have 4 and 1. That'll give him 5 protecting the 2 transports. He'll give me the transport. The U.S. transport's going to take Norway. Instead of getting it for free, I can roll the dice on the 50-50 on the cruiser hitting or not and kill it. So I could take the 50-50 on losing a plane but killing a transport, or I could take the 5 on 4 to try to kill 1 transport. Not as good of odds there, or 6 on 4, excuse me. Not as good odds there. But if he does put the cruiser there, I'm likely to put the battleship there to kill the cruiser. And if I do that, that would block Italy. Unless he used UK's 2 fighter and a bomber to clear the battleship and then let them go in to start the med shuck on US 3, which is aggressive, but that's what they want to do. So my Germany 3, I did, because this affects Japan too, I did look at, he's got 25 IPC, so he could build like 7 infantry and artillery. If he uses 2 infantry to trade West Russia, that would leave him 4 plus a 70 builds, 11, 12, 15, 22 infantry, 7 artillery, 22, 7, 29, 32, 33 attacking units. I could have potentially 11, 23, 24, 25, and then 4 Japan planes with what I'm planning on now, which would make this a dicey battle. Again, I'd be giving him a shot at West Russia while giving up Karelia to UK, of course, and doing so. But I'd be giving him a shot at West Russia, but it'd allow me to then use my German fighters to stack Italy, slide them down, put some guys in here, and dead zone these 2, stack Italy, stack West Russia, possibly. And if we can stack West Russia, then that gets him out of Caucasus, and then we just hope we can make something happen out of that. Otherwise, we retreat back into Corellia, and it becomes a standard Corellia game. If it becomes a standard Corellia game, the main difference on the German side is that I built 6 tanks on round 1. That could have been 12 infantry. I would have built my bomber, so I'm not going to count the bomber as costing anything, but that means ultimately 12 infantry, if you follow me, is 48 defense strength versus the 6 tanks I got is 30 defense strength. So I'm losing 18 defense strength, which if you really want to crunch it down, that's 4.5 infantry low. So I'm already 4.5 infantry short of what I would be on this side of the map. But I would have the mobility of the tanks where I can kind of play with some Poland tanks that can help dead zone and pressure and, maybe something like that. We'll see. The tanks the flexibility of the tanks does help a little bit nicely when you start getting into Ukraine, Karelia, Berlin triangle. So, maybe that'll make up a little bit for that 4.5 difference. On the fleet side, he's coming in with an extra 2 carriers because normally I would have done Pearl Light. And this carrier lived because of 37 being so great. So he's got 2 extra carriers, which is going to be a pain in the patooey. While I'm short a carrier and battleship and fleet. Now, the good news is my purchase, I'm going to be able to buy 3 transports and an industry. So I'm going to be up to my 5 transports and 1 industry on J2, which is my normal at that point. So that's a positive. The negative is normal J1, there's only 1 transport, and that we land 2 units down here. Instead, I landed 2 units in here. They're on the mainland. That's the important part. So I didn't really lose any momentum on round 1. Round 2, I normally have 4 transports landing 8 units. I'm only going to have 2 transports landing 4 units. So I'm going to be, and only 2 of those are going to be the mainland. 2 are going to be going this way. But I will be starting to get islands a turn earlier. So there's that positive. But we're going to be, basically all that means we're going to be 4 units short on normal Japan. Here, we're 4 units short here. So we're 8.5 units behind is my estimate right now. So that's the sad part. So that means we got to continue to offer opportunities, and so that's what we're going to do. We're going to continue to offer him opportunities to roll the dice should he so choose, including potentially West Russia R4, as well as C-Zone 36 on UK3 are going to be 2 juicy possible options for him. And then whatever we do down here in Africa, it's not really risky. It's just us going to do whatever the most we can make out of that. So yeah, so my purchase is going to be a factory, 3 transports, and 2 infantry. And you're asking me right now, but you've only got 4 units there, and you're going to take 2 of them with your transport. You're going to have 4 transports for shucking, and you're only going to have 4 ground on Tokyo. What's that going to do? Well, one of them will grab these guys, so we'll take those. That makes up 6, and we're going to bring this guy all the way down to 36 this turn, so that next turn he can grab DEI guys. And then the following turn, we can start producing the 8 and shucking, or maybe we come over here and start messing around with Madagascar and India. I don't know. We don't have enough fleet really to do both a cycle this way and a cycle that way, unfortunately. So not likely we go that way, but options. But that does mean the good news is that gets our productivity, our Japan productivity up pretty quick, which is a positive, considering we're 8.5 units behind. 3. I want to get 3 fighters landing in here as part of the picture. So what do we got going on here? We got 3 artillery and a fighter. Let's give him a second fighter. Let's do a fighter, 4, and a bomber. So that gives us 2, 3, and a bomber. Almost tempted to go at it with 1, but we want to make, hopefully take it so that the tank can't blitz too. And that gives us 4 units hitting there. Our carrier's going to go here. Those fighters will land there. These 2 fighters. We got 3 fighters going here. Yeah. The 3 fighters will land here. 2 fighters will land here. Bomber will land there. That'll set that up. Actually, you know what? For the sake of picking a unit up further out, we're going to do that. And that way it's an easier pickup for somebody later. Let's see some clean kills. Oh, you can only laugh at this game. You can only laugh. It's all that you can do. Are you flipping kidding me? Oh my goodness. All right. All right. Caught my breath. We gotta go look at the map. So we're gonna have infantry artillery. We're gonna have 3 fighters and a bomber. He will have an infantry, a tank, 2 fighters. Oh, he could bring an infantry and a tank back. Well, he'd have to go through the C-136. He wouldn't want to necessarily do that. Plus, we're talking about attacking here, so we're talking about our stack there. So we would have 2 ground, 3 fighters, and a bomber. He'll have 2 ground, 2 fighters, and a bomber. I think I had to say I'm okay with that. The problem is that means I'm going to give him Thailand. We will then have, he's going to have 1, 10, 11, 12, 14 units he could stick in Burma next turn. I'm going to have 2, 4, 5, 6, 7. Pick someone up from here. 8. Plus my 5 fighters and a bomber. 14. So he can stack Burma next turn in all likelihood. Good golly. I could try and kill the 1 infantry to keep Thailand safe, but is that really any good? Does that matter? I don't think it does. I think it's better to save my planes. That's just ridiculous, though. I'm normally perfectly happy attacking 2 infantry with 2 infantry and 2 fighters. That 2 infantry, 3 fighters, a bomber versus 2 infantry. And it went what? I went 2 complete rounds, right? We went 2 rounds. Chance of 1 infantry living is 1.01%. He had a 1% chance of that. Heck, let's just lose East Australia. That would be perfect. Why did I speak? Why did I speak? Why? Why me? Oh my golly. Good grief, Miss Molly. All right, we definitely are giving him options then. So he may take his sub against my destroyer sub and sink my 3 transports. At this rate, you know, why not? I was hoping to take this with 2 so that the 1 could go there and I could just keep moving on to New Zealand and such. It may end up being that I leave the West Australia and come over here if he doesn't dead zone the Pearl Harbor Sea Zone this turn, so that I can take care of that and then come back around. You know, if he stacks here, then I might as well just come over to 46, grab this guy, and then we can look at coming back. Oh, not happy day again. There we got our destroyer sub there. The reason I'm putting the 1 sub forward is so that I can have sub battleship cruiser, so that if he facing this 2056, so that if he does build a bomber, you know, bomber sub threatens the battleship, he could keep a destroyer back. If I was him, I'd put his destroyer carrier back, to be honest, and drop fighters here and then just completely come back and wipe my ass. But all right. Stupid Burma. Stupid Burma. All right, so here we go. Continue going to Germany 3. One thing I did not recognize before is UK had bombed me for 6. The good news is US tried to bomb as well and got the bomber shot down. So we finally got something to go our way, just a teensy bit at least. And so I didn't even really look at everything what they buy there, but 3 transports, so they're really loading up, getting ready to hit. So that's going to get them up to 6, 7 transports on the US side. So they're almost up to full speed. I said that we did shoot them down. He blitzed over here and took Norway. So yeah, we do got some choices on what we can do. Russia, 7 infantry, 1 artillery, not a surprise. Attacked West Russia, won it without any losses, not a surprise. And this is a concern that he's trying to keep a stack here and a mini stack of Kaza already going, which is not good when Japan's weak. So we have got to get pressure. We got to get Russia to turtle, and the only way we can do that is by stacking West Russia. Stacking West Russia is going to be a thin stack, and it's going to leave me even a thinner stack on Karelia, and ultimately that's going to leave me a thin stack on Northwest, and an okay stack on Italy. I'm making Italy okay because I don't want to lose the productive positioning of it, but yeah. I'm tempted to give him a better shot on it. Um, he'd have a 75% to conquer at -10 value, but he's going to get 3 value out of it, so that's -7, and I'd lose my production with him bombing. So don't I'm going to protect Italy just a little bit better because we need to get as many infantry units on this map as we can, as fast as we can, and we're really slacking in there. Meanwhile, with these guys, the good news is if I gave him Italy, then he wouldn't be able to attack these guys. So that's another possible pro out of it. I thought about putting the battleship in 17. That would prevent him from being able to hit Italy at all. But then, and he'd be able to sacrifice a cruiser to take out the battleship. If I move the battleship to 16, I'm going to be safe for one more round. He does have 4 U.S. fighters that could hit there, and he does have these 2 fighters and a bomber that could hit there, so he does have lots of air that could hit it. But if I stack West Russia, as is my plan, he's not going to want to stay in Caucasus. So any planes that land in Caucasus, or even if he takes Ukraine and planes land there, they're going to get wiped out by Germany the next turn. So I don't think that it's much of an option for him to hit the battleship there. So that gives me a chance to try to keep pressure on 15. So this cruiser carrier, they could come into 15, put some fighters, that would give them 4, but I would have a battleship and 6 planes that could hit them. So if we can make these guys go around the Africa, that helps us out a little bit more. I want to keep a Northwest Europe stack with my airplanes for one more round at least, maybe 2, and then we got to pull out of there because this carrier and destroyer can't reach 13, so he'll need to load up 13 pretty good. So it'll be hard for him to do 3 and 13 or 8 and 13. Although our battleship will be pulled out at that point. So there was the option of putting the battleship in there, but we decided to go against that. Anyways, we had to do some repairs. So we're going to be repairing in Germany and building 13 infantry, 2, 8, and 3. You know what? I didn't check. I probably should check to make sure I'm not giving up Berlin here. I just realized, I just kind of assumed, but that's awfully thin. Okay, so yeah, so we are going to have to auto what I was going to do. We're going to go back to shoving the battleship in here. Building 8 infantry here would have left them a 65% shot at taking Berlin with an all-in with the transport here and transport there. I could do like a 2 fighter and bomber shot on that. I would kill that, and that would take away him hitting there, but then I'd have to be risking my bomber on a cruiser transport, which I don't think that's worth saving the battleship for a turn, because the battleship's going to die at some point. So I think we just shove the battleship in there after all. So all right, here we go. At least that makes it be a 5+3 versus my 5, or 5+1, excuse me, because these fighters 1, 2, 3, 4, they can't reach. 1, 2, 3, 1, 2, 3, 4, they can't reach. They could follow it up with a tank and 4 fighters, but maybe we can get some lucky dice here. And was this Libya? Is that right? Yeah, Libya. Really want to take this with no hitbacks. That's the critical one, and then taking this without and winning the territory is the other critical one here. That was kind of funny. I got to figure out what I'm going to do with Karelia, West Russia. I'm not sure the risk level I want to take there yet or not. I'll decide that in just a second here. That's why I left 2 infantry and 2 tanks. I can either move them into West Russia or I can move them to Karelia, but I need a little bit more in West Russia. I'm just not sure what I want to do. Yay, we hit them. And we won it at least. Alright, I gotta look at this on the calculator real quick. I'm gonna pause the video. Alright, so yeah, so we're gonna rely on our AA to blow up some UK planes when he attacks with a bomber and all these fighters and whatnot. That is what we're gonna do. .651, that's fine. The US would follow up. They got an infantry artillery cruiser follow up. That's about it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 1, 2, 3, 4. They don't got much else on the fighter side. So for this round, I do want to make sure the AA is going first. Yep, okay. Alright. We're going to go with it. Just click it before I could overthink this any more than I already have. There we go. So he can't take Italy. We plugged that. So instead he can hit this, but he'd have to use his bomber here instead of his bomber up there or on the battleship. Which he can just use his 2 fighters, cruiser, carrier if he wants, leaving them there. Since I don't really have much I can hit them with kind of counter other than possibly a bomber. He's sweet if he lost everything but the carrier, and then the bomber could just kill a clean carrier. That would be nice, but not as likely. So there we go.
All right, so here we go for Japan 3 now. India's turn. They bought 6 infantry artillery transport destroyer. They dropped the transport destroyer here. Did not take France. As you can see, we hit Karelia. We can already preview that. He did not take France. He's only got 3 there. I've got my 6 here, so that tells me he's going to take France with the U.S. and probably put his main fleet there. Hopefully that means he's not going to 3 or 13. Maybe he will with just one transport, just to make us think about it. But he's also got these 3 that if he goes to 10, he's got to protect them. So he's got, I think he's going 10 and 8 with his U.S. fleet. Maybe putting 1 into here. I'm not really sure, especially with what I'm getting ready to say I'm going to do probably. Got combat moves, like I said, they attacked Corellia, they attacked Libya. We can say they had good results with Libya, and they didn't even use any air in that. So it was a 5v5 where defense should have had the advantage, and he wiped us. Took Indochina, we saw that for free, and he attacked the battleship here, which we got some decent results. So right here, Season 17, he lost his cruiser and a carrier, so we took 2 boats out with the battleship. I'm okay with that. You know, it's nice to take out planes, but with as much navy as he had going, it's nice to take out another carrier so that as we push our Japan air forward as fast as possible, make it even more challenging for him to get multiple sea zones, in particular med shuck, going and taking away income and production there. Corellia. So here's Corellia. He destroyed my 3 infantry AAA. He did lose a tank, a fighter, and a bomber. So that was a pretty expensive Corellia for him. But he's going to be able to just walk a Russian guy in there. Unless, as I'm planning on doing, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, I'm going to snipe the Russian guy with the Japan bomber. So that should be worth 3. And the only way he could take it would be to use his U.S. transport to come into 5. Which means his UK is going to have to stay there, which they probably will want to, because he's going to want to threaten here with 6 units and a cruiser. Which will make it hard for me to stack both Corellia and West Russia next turn. So it would make sense that he would stay there, so it's not that big a deal. But at some point, he may want to leave there, and he's going to have a mixed fleet, and hopefully we can make him pay for that with Japan Air coming into the area. So, and that means U.S. transport out of sync for 2 turns, which is basically going back and coming back. So that's 2 less U.S. ground in Europe. So it's worth 3 Allies ground, plus potentially getting that, killing 3, basically, preventing Russia from getting points. And maybe he won't send his U.S. transport there. And maybe we don't get hit, which is what we're really hoping for. Worst case scenario, we take 9 IPC worth of value and we lose a 12. So we're risking 3 for possible positive of either 3, 5, 7 if he doesn't take it with Russia or with US, or 9 if he goes. So like 7 to 9 value at a risk of 3. I'm gonna something like that. I'm sure I've left some factors out of that and whatnot, but it sounds good. So I think that's what we're gonna do over here. Thankfully, he did not stack Burma. I was expecting a Burma stack because we only had, well, we could have ground 6, 8, 10 ground, and then had my air here, and it would have committed my fighters to here. But he did need to use his fighters towards this direction and this direction. So that was his choice, was to hit the battleship in Corellia instead of stacking Burma. So purchase, we got 9 air and a fighter or 9 ground infantry. That means I'm only putting 6 in here. So we're going to be grabbing these 4, these 2. So we're going to be grabbing these 6 with the 3. We're going to grab these 2 to hit Thailand with this transport. This one's going to be heading this way. So we're building 6 for these 3 guys to be able to come back and grab again. But with this transport, hopefully we have 1 to 2 infantry sitting here that we can either go grab Madagascar, or back to Australia. Worst case scenario. But I want to go ahead and grab these 2 real quick here. So I'm going to use a few turns of doing that and add in some Japan air during that time that we start working over that direction. We're going to go straight to Pearl for now, since he does not have a build going on in West US, and I don't want him to get that build. So we'll go ahead and just grab it and then come back to New Zealand and then cycle back in. Because he's got enough of here to just keep Alaska stacked, although he'll have to build in West US next turn at least. So that's a positive. We're going to see how that goes. We're going to see how everything goes. I'm probably going to add another Japan guy infantry into that. I thought about using the Japan infantry and hitting this guy with the infantry and not risk my bomber, but I'm going to take this risk because we are still behind in this game and we need to take risks. And we saw a little bit of dice our way with that battleship and hitting a fighter bomber on that attack. So maybe this is us turning the corner on the dice rolling. Good deal. Bummer that he got a hit, but we only need one to grab territory. There we go. That's nice. Excuse me. Nice, got the hit. Big whiff. Rats. That's a bummer. It does give him a decent play hitting a vent guy now, but I wanted to get this tank in range of West Russia for next turn. This is the key one. We really want our bomber to survive. And we're feeling good with our dice this morning. Got the hit, got the miss. Very good. I will take those infantry hitbacks for that. We are going to go ahead and shuffle him up here. So now he's got a 2 infantry, 3 tank, 1 fighter hit on 4 infantry and a tank. But we're also going to put an artillery up there just so he doesn't blitz me through. We are going to advance our air up here so that these two can get to Italy, they can get to Berlin, they can get to Karelia, they can get to West Russia for reinforcements. And he's only got these 2 fighters that can hit me, or this fighter that can hit me. So feeling pretty good about that. U.S. turn is next. 1, 2, 3. They can't do anything. He could take a fighter and go 1, 2, 3, and then build a carrier, but to kill my 1 transport. But I don't know that killing a carrier or building a carrier to catch a fighter to lose that money just to kill 1 transport is going to be worth it for him. So we're going to let him have that opportunity. We are going to push this guy right on out of here to make our Pacific waters safe of any subs. Might as well push this sub forward, I guess. So it's nice that he lost that UK bomber and the US bomber, so he has no bombers on the board. We're pushing this sub out of the Pacific. So until he builds some bombers or he builds some fleet, and US is going to have too many boats pressing them to build a fleet. UK could, but again, we still have a pretty good strength here because 2 fighters, 2 fighters, bomber, plus our 3 boats that could hit there. So, despite our slow start, we're getting some pretty good quick advancement of our builds, so that on Japan 4, we take here and here, potentially, by going into 32, take there, Japan 5, he comes back. And so by J5, we'll have 1 factory. I'm not sure if we're going to build a second factory. We might go the heavy air route, but we'll have our 5 transports, factory, all islands cleared up by J5. Now, again, he does have the option of stacking Burma another turn, which I just have to deal with if he does. We do want to switch our defense profile. Okay, we are fighter before carrier. Good deal. All right, so this is what it looks like. So we've got 5 fighters and a bomber now pressuring the Mediterranean, as well as they can reach any of these. These could reach out to here if I really decided to. Most likely Germany, I've got a feeling we're going to be pulling them back into West Russia, and we're going to be giving trades on Northwest and France, unfortunately. At least for a turn or two. We'll see if we go back to stacking one of those or not. Probably not. I'd like to keep Northwest Sheriff stacked longer, but that's one of the things that we're going to have to give with having done a tank build and those early dice. All right. This is what the Pacific's looking like. So he's not going to be building there. This sub's really, I believe, is only, well, I guess he could come here. Here are his 2 safe zones, so we'll just keep chasing him out of the Pacific. Except most likely he'll stack these 2, so this guy's going to come back down to New Zealand, and then Australia. This guy can come over to Madagascar with these guys, and then maybe hit Australia, maybe hit there, or return, and then those 2 will come back to shucking and grabbing island guys. All right, so here we go. Round 4, Germany 4. US 3, he bought a transport complex for Norway. 4 infantry, 2 artillery. He put 3 and 1 back here to defend against these guys. Kept Alaska stacked. And then the transport. The interesting, the transport throws a little bit of shucking off when I look at it, because he's got 10 units here. He's going to take them. He's got those guys. He's got this guy as an extra that he could come back, but he won't have anything to pick up. This guy, of course, has to exit either to 3 or 8, most likely coming to 8 as he continues to trade France, I'm sure. So, yeah. That's that step. That does mean this guy can come around and grab this infantry to add for attempt at a France stack. So I was doing my calculations on what I'm willing to give for attack on a France stack. It's not wonderful. There's nothing wonderful on this game still. There's been some better things, but nothing wonderful yet. In any case, he attacked Finland. Yeah, he moved into Finland, sure. Libya just moved in there. Oh, blitz to there. Took France and, like I said, Norway. So in the combat in France, though, he did
I had one infantry he killed. He sacrificed a fighter in order to take France, so we did get another plus fighter, so that was a bonus for us. So I can't not complain about that at all. He did use his transport to go ahead and take Karelia, which means I don't get to, there's no way that I can stack both Karelia and West Russia. I was kind of hoping I might be able to pull something off if he didn't put anything there, but that's not going to happen since I can't land planes there before UK goes. Yeah. Everything else was just free takes. Russia, 7 infantry, took Ukraine. He attacked Evenkai, and unfortunately he got a better result than I was hoping for. You know, I knew I was giving him a slightly IPC positive battle at a decent chance, but I was hoping I would carve out some of his tanks. The good news of this is this does give me a chance to keep West Russia stacked as long as I can take Arch. If I can take Arch and block his tanks, then I'm in good shape. I can do that. Technically, he can use his UK to then snipe my German guy, so hopefully we can take that without a hit back. If he does that, then my next bit is 1 infantry, 4 planes hitting his tanks and hoping for the best. If he lands his UK planes there, then that would be a problem as well, in which case I would have to lay my bomber down in Arch. Which again, even that wouldn't be good because he does have his fighter. He could take it. I have to lay a fighter. I don't know. We'll worry about that when it comes to that. If it comes to that, we're going to be optimistic that we're going to take this without losing a guy and have 2 infantry there, and he will not want to attack it with 2 fighters. That's what I'm going to say. Because we just need to play positively at this with a positive mindset. All right, so we are repairing our 2, and we're going to build 12 infantry and artillery to fill our 13 spots so that we can get some money back. Send the fighter here or there. Fighter there. Let's send bomber here. And I need to stay in West Russia one more time for Japan to get going, because he's got 30 guys in Russia, and I really need him not to be able to turn and stack Kaza on me. Are you kidding me with these fighters already? Thank you. Alright. We'll see if he does it, and if we have to strike those guys with planes and then hope for dice in West Russia. Or hope for good dice there or good dice in West Russia, one or the other. 4 fighters, 10 guys, a bomber. How did I get with one guy there? Did I really leave one guy sitting? Huh. I did not mean to do that. I'm confused. Oh well, we got an extra guy there, I guess. I guess I was clicking too quickly and not paying attention to what I was clicking. I sent 4 there. 4 there. We only had 8 there. 4 there, 4 there. What did I do? I'm a little confused here. Oh, my Italy guy. That's right. Duh. I had my Italy guy coming up. Okay, that makes more sense. All right, there we go. So we'll see how he plays this. Thankfully, because we got everything, I think that gives us 42. That gives us 42. So it gives us our 13 guys plus, well, he can't bomb us, so I don't have to worry about that. So we can save some. And maybe eventually we'll try stacking Karelia again. Right now, I need to keep Russia bottled up so that Japan can get some buffers in here. Get these guys up, get this guy in here, get the planes in, and then we'll see what we can do. All right, continue to roll right along here. So UK4 went, 4 infantry, 2 artilleries, and a fighter. Ground went here, put the fighter up here. Well, 3 of the ground went here, rest went up there. Combat, he attacked Karelia, took it, unseated. Fighter, infantry, artillery. He also took France, fighter, artillery. Oh, he attempted Burma, but failed Burma. Yay! Did he lose both of those? He lost both infantry and artillery on Burma. Nice. Lost 1 in France. So, we got to be careful we don't wait too long on Karelia. But I'm hoping to start marching some guys that way as well. So, hopefully it goes well. So, I'm looking at getting a fighter. I'm doing a fighter a turn or 2 fighters a turn if I can. For a little bit here. While I'm sending my transports around, we're going to get 6 units and 3 units, 9 ground. I went 8 in a tank just because we're going to move these infantry here. He's got these 3 tanks here. If he does like a move, you know, we'll be able to blitz a tank through there as well, is ultimately what I'm looking at. We'll see how much he wants to dance around up here for these 1 territory things. I don't expect a whole lot, but maybe he does. The other part of that leaves me 2 IPC. So this is the type of planning I do now. I've got 40, so that means I'll have a guaranteed 42 next turn. I'm going to get 2, 43, 44, 45. I'm going to Madagascar to get 46 and 47. I'm going to continue to build 9 infantry, which will be 27. That'll leave me 20 points so I can buy 2 fighters next time. So that's how I planned out what I was going to do. Part of me wants to attack these. I could lose the bomber and still be safe. But is that really the best use of our troops? I don't know that it is. I didn't even look at the possibility last time of if I hadn't used a fighter there of coming in to Caucasus. I didn't really thought about that and even registered on my brain. I don't know if that was a possibility or not. It would have been dangerous if I had, because we would have had nothing up here to trade Corellia, and this would get really ugly. Second thought is to bomb Russia. And I think I will, actually. How much does Russia got? They got 23, so they're trying to build 7, so we can restrict that out. Since they can only trade with one fighter, they can't trade with their artillery when they want to, but since they only got one fighter to trade, hopefully we can make them more and more inefficient. I'm thinking 5s. I'm feeling 5s. 5s, 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 5s. Here we go. Here's the 5. Look at that. I should have another job as a psychic. I do that a little too often. People might get suspectful of me. There we go. Look at the cruiser. Twice in a row, the cruiser has hit in Hawaii and down here, and cruisers are useless. We actually bought us a good cruiser, it looks like. We'll continue to chase that sub right on out of the Pacific. So, debated. I could put the fighter down here. I don't think he's going to go 3. I kind of like him up here to help just whatever he does up here, but at the same time, it'd be nice to have him down here to be able to trade. Granted, we're not really going to be able to trade off of the... even if we were here, we wouldn't be able to trade real well. We're going to move these guys down, shut this door from this sub, trying to sneak through. Shut the Pacific down that way. And just get these subs out of our hair, out of our way, out of our hair. Let our naked subs do their run around free. Just double checking there's no other fighters that can reach him, that he can be running around here. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, he's safe. I just like him up here to help trade off, if he was to put a tank here or a tank here, or whatever he would do. I don't think he'd, like, give me 5 to trade. He'd move 5 up. Actually, you know what? I don't think he's going to take 3 tanks on the 3 infantry when I got 2 infantry and a tank and a fighter sitting right here coming back in. If I bring him on around here, 1, 2, 3, 4, he can still help trade here, here, but he'll also be closer. 1, 2, 3, 4. He can go into here, go that way. So I like him better up here, I think. So, like I said, come turn 5, these guys will clean up here. We'll maybe attack somewhere. Like we could hit Persia, TJ, with the infantry and a whole bunch of air, you know, maybe we'll do something like that. But by J5, we could have built the factory. If I wanted to do it, I could have built a factory. I had 15, after my 9 infantry, I had 15 IPC. I could have done that. But I'm going to try going without the second factory for a little bit, I think. And we're going to focus on some fighters and see how it goes. There we go. Hopefully we can keep hedging our bets and not, you know, not let Corelli get out of hand. You know, he's going to be dropping all into Finland, so next turn we got to move over there. But hopefully we've got enough up here that he can't just come back and stack Kaza. That was my main goal here. All right, we're going to be working on trying to get some more, little bit of luck going on here. So round 4 real quick. U.S. bought a couple fighters, a transport, 7 infantry. Transport a little bit confuses me because now they've got 6, 8 transports that can come back. And they've got 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10, 11 units. When they have transport possibility for 16 now. Unless he's planning on just leaving some transports hanging here just for pressure on Germany and whatnot, which I do gotta be a little bit mindful of that as I make my turn here. But yeah, I think that means we're gonna have to let go of our Northwest Europe stack, actually, because we definitely need to be getting infantry going towards the Karelia, so we need to go through Baltics, which means we need to get, we're going to be dropping 10 here, and we'll be able to pull 1 in here, but with 6 transports worth, he would still have like a 70-some shot unless I was able to bring some of my fighters over. Let me take a look at that real quick, actually. So, yeah, maybe I won't yet. It's gonna depend on how the battles go. So, anyways, U.S. bought the 2 fighters, 1 transport, 7 infantry. Some of the infantry going there. You can see they came up here, stacked up here, you know, preparing all of that bit. They didn't do any combat moves. Russia repaired some of the damage. Bought 6 units. Let's see. Cleared Caucasus without a loss, and cleared Arch without a loss. So that brings us to us. We had 42 points. I spent 39. I'm just going to save 3 because we know we're going to need units later. So we're just going to save it because I don't think I need it quite yet. I did realize there is one more thing I got to figure out here before I finalize this. If I need to buy artillery in order to dead zone France. So one more pause here. Okay, yeah, I think we're okay on the dead zone with our plan. So we're going to save our 3. It's an infantry for later. We are going to plan on trying to take this efficiently. Most likely I'm going to go down to 1, but I can see how the hits are not go. I can see how everything goes before deciding that. And I think I'm going to try and take out a transport. I know this is a little bit why, because I need it for weakening right now the UK 1-2 on Berlin and Karelia. So we're going to take that shot. And go. Let's not think about it. Just got to go real quick. If I don't think about it, then I can't change my mind. Go, fighter. Go, fighters. that fighter hitting twice. 2 for 2 with the fighter hits for finally. Yeah, I'll move the other one up with him. All right. We do get the trombone playing. We do need to... Okay, good job, infantry. Because the fighter stunk again. All right, we do need the fighters to hit here. We just need one fighter to hit, and I'm feeling him rolling a 4. A 4 is what I'm feeling this time. He rolled the 4, but the fighters whiffed on me. Are you kidding me? I felt the 4 and I got my 4, but the fighters went 0 for 3. 0 for 3. All that fighter wasted back on Caucasus. Well, that changes things up a little bit. Well, let's do what we do know. I like keeping this stacked simply because I'm going to have some of my Japan Air Force here that can go 1, 2, 3, 4, so we continue to triangulate. I need to check my new Northwest Europe fighter experience because I was not counting on them getting shot down. All right, yep, I think we're going to go with this. Just to try to keep our being able to pressure C-Zone 5, 3, and 8. So we have to keep his fleets separated up a little bit. Unfortunate dice on the second roll. If they would have hit that first roll and they got the 4, I called the 4, I got the 4. Now, I do have 12 units here. He's got 12, 13, 14 that can attack. We'll see what he does, but I am probably going to put a couple of Japan fighters in here. I don't need them up here per my calculators, but we'll see what happens. I did realize if he took this with the tank and he could hit with the fighters, that would open up the 3 tanks and a fighter to hit my guys back here. But then I'd be able to move him unless he blitzed that. I don't know. We'll worry about that. We could always... Yeah, I don't know. We'll worry about all that. That might have been a mistake. All right. I'm going to let go.
All right, so here we go for Japan 5. UK, he bought 2 bombers, a transport, and 2 artilleries. He put a bomber down here in India, which is really smart. I'm so used to having that Kwangtung factory. I didn't think about the fact that I couldn't simply drop a boat there and land my plane on it. So we're going to have to shuck to 62, which is going to make Burma vulnerable, to say the least. So we're going to have to deal with that, and it means I can't take 46 with the naked transport because I want to get my battleship cruiser into 49 so that they can get back to 61 next time. Because he does have that other bomber coming, so he'll have 2 bombers that could reach 61 next turn, because I got a feeling he's going to stack Kazakhs. I needed longer to prevent a Kazakh stack, so we're going to have to move up here, and we're just going to do whatever we can. Not really sure. There's just... Japan has so far to go I still feel way behind in this game, unfortunately. Even though I prevented the mid-chuck and I got pretty good expansion with Japan, we just got a long ways to go here. And I at this point, I've kind of committed myself to we're going to go with a heavy Japan air stabilizing Europe until we get enough that he has to build more boats and spend money on boats, and hope that Japan can get enough pressure and enough income here and just neutralize Russia. But yeah, we're looking not great in this game. I would prefer to look a lot different than what I look like. But there's just those early dice hurt. That last fighter hit hurt. And put it simply, the bad guy SekuN, he's just a very good player. So he did a good job. He did do what I was afraid of. So the things I'm looking at is he did open up this pathway where the 3 tanks and fighter could attack my bomber, hit here, and I've got nothing other than tanks I could hit back with. He'll be stacking here, so then he'll be killing any tanks I send. So I need to put 2 Japan fighters in here to make this an IPC negative value, which with him risking tanks and fighters, hopefully he doesn't take that. However, what that does do is he'll stack here with Russia, and then I'm kind of stuck because if Germany leaves, then UK will have the tank and 2-3 fighters, 2 bombers, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, yeah. 2 bombers and 3 fighters that can hit Ukraine. So I need to leave those 2 infantry there just to protect the Japan planes, to fly the Japan planes out for Russia then later, or UK or someone to kill them the next time. But it's not like we're going to be taking Caucasus next turn with Germany anyways, because he can easily stack that with Russia. It just means we're just going to have to give off the 2 trade and hope that we got enough coverage. Or we might be able to, with 10 infantry coming in here and him only having 2 come, we might be able to throw some tanks down here and keep Ukraine stacked. That's another possibility. I haven't really looked too heavily on that. But yeah, so that's kind of where we're at right now. So with that bomber build, he can hit Season 61, obviously. I got no boats, no surface ships I can get there. So like I said, we got to be working on getting ships back. So we're going to do that. What it means is it's going to cost me 2 points. So I'm not going to be able to take Australia this turn on 5 like I had planned on. I'll have to take it on 6. Okay. Then I take it on 6, I guess. I mean, I could do the cruiser there, but I'd rather not even risk the 1v1 just for 2 points, because we'll be able to clean up with this transport coming back around. But yeah, so those are the key points. I do need, so the other things that are being considered, so I need 2 fighters in here. I do need 2 planes in here because of the 6 transports, 2 fighters, battleship cruiser that can hit here. I'm going to 2 fighters takes them down to a 25% shot. A fighter bomber takes them to a 40% shot at taking Berlin. So I'm going to put 2 fighters there, 2 fighters there. I'm going to put a fighter here. It keeps a 1-round strafe at negative value as well as further. So hoping that that's enough to deter them. And then we're also going to try and keep enough to prevent Burma from being stacked. Of course, that does rely on us actually taking Burma, which we're going to try and take it as light as we can. 2 infantry with 2 planes is an 80+% shot of taking it. I can't risk just throwing extra infantry in there because we're shorthanded as is. So here we go. We got the 9 infantry, 2 fighter build that we talked about last time. Don't believe he can hit anybody. Yeah. That gives me 2 going there, 1 going there. Nothing they can hit. That'll be 2. Can't get back, so it doesn't help to hit there. Unfortunately, like I said, we can't hit that guy this turn after all. What we're going to do, we're going to bring this guy to 30 and then to 46, and then he can grab the other infantry to come back to 36 and shuffle other guys around to start picking up these other guys. We are going to continue to bring this destroyer and subs and leave this sub kind of over here towards protecting in this direction. But this carrier destroyer is going to go back. All right, we need a good Burma here. This is the key battle. Burma is the key battle this time. We need to take Burma. I mean, a Burma stack wouldn't be the end of the world, but it would be rather annoying. It would create some, definitely IPCs negative for us. But we don't want that. We're just going to take it now. Those useless Japan fighters. All right, we got the take. That was the key ingredient there. A fighter finally hit. I need him for pressure on Burma. Don't want to put them all in here. Don't want to put some up here, actually. Because I am going to be putting pressure up on the northern part. Here, 1, 2, 3. Here, 1, 2. Since he's going to be putting down here. And then we get enough going that way, I think, right now. Do want to stay where we can be in reach of that. Could be here. That keep me in range of West US as well. That might be slightly better. Because he's obviously realizing I'm low on my Pacific ship, so he's making me pull them back. He could try and do a West US drop. Well, we'll see. I might come back to that. I'm not 100% sold on that yet. We will slide this guy around since his enemy destroyer is in range right now. I think I do want to take them tighter so that we could squeeze them on around this way, though. So we're going to give up that West US if he decides to go that route. I'd rather keep them tighter to South America here, where they can meet up with that one sub and down here or here, or, you know, any of these 3 would be possibilities. because with all that air coming, having some subs and destroyers can help keep this southern Atlantic difficult for them. All right, so yeah, so Japan 6 will go here. We'll go here because we can get through that. And then Japan 7, 36, and 61. Hopefully we'll have enough boats back to be able to do that. We should have the carrier back with a couple fighters floating around, so should be doable. Again, I'm happy with what I've done with this game, but I'm still feel like I'm in the maybe 20% chance on this game. I don't feel great on my odds still. I was going to give him the 40% shot on there, to be honest, but I decided not to go that route. So this does give me 6 infantry, 7, 8 infantry, and artillery, putting pressure there, plus 2 fighters, a bomber, a battleship, and cruiser. I think I missed in my calculator. I missed. I had 1 more infantry hitting. I think I must have. I think I was counting this guy grabbing him and hitting there. Whoops. Oh well. We'll see. I mean, even that would be risky though, because we do have air that could hit there, plus at least a transport that could hit India. I almost said Italy. So we'll see what he does. Hopefully we can continue to stabilize our stacks here. I'm hoping at some point that we'll be able to shift to a France stack and continue to trade that, and then have enough of this Japan air cycling in to hold a France, Germany, Karelia stack trading Ukraine. So I got to get some guys into here too to be able to trade there. So trading these guys, trading all up on here. So that's where Russia doesn't have a lot of great trading options. But they do got a big stack that they can stuff into here and here, and so anyways, there we go.
Okay, so here we go. US 5, he didn't do any combat, just bought a couple transports, 8 infantry and artillery. So let's see, that gets him probably up to his full transport. He's up to 11 transports, actually 1 more than I normally go, but he's up to 11 transports there. He's got 11. He's got 5 transports coming back for 7 people. Again, the logistics just seems a little bit screwy to me, but I'm sure he's got his reasons. I'm not going to question it. I'm just not sure, but in any case, no combats. Just move things around from there, shucked up here to good old Finland. Round 6, he was able to buy 6 infantry with the Russians. Let's see, he did a number of combats. Took West Russia, no losses. Blitz somewhere. Oh, was that Novo maybe? Let's see. Took Vologda and then stacked it. Took Kaza and stacked it. And this is my concern, is the stacking on the backside that's going to prevent Japan from being able to get the income that Japan needs to be getting. At least we're getting quicker income here, but Japan needs to be grabbing that income sooner than later. So we need to get in here. We can't let Russia abuse us this way. So here we go. We had enough to buy 14 infantry, leaving two IPC over. Oh, you know what? I forgot to check one thing. I do need to check my France back door here real quick. So, yeah, I think we are going to have to buy a couple artilleries in here. We're even going to pull some tanks back, and this is going to get... We're going to offer him dice. Again, I feel like I'm too far behind. I'm giving up too much right now. with Russia being way too big, we need Russia to be turtled. So we got to go into West Russia, but we got to hold on to Karelia too. And we got to hold on to Berlin. And not get Baltic killed. And not let him get a France stack. We're asking a lot. But yeah, here we go. Yeah, what did we have in Karelia? I'm blanking back on my own Karelia. Yeah. Da, 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 da. All right. Ugh. We have just one last thing to check here. So we need to make sure we get 5, 6, 7, 8, land one there. All right, well, we're just going to do this. We're going to continue to give him the option of being the dice roller. Good. It's always nice. I mean, I'm not a big fan of them showing you where all the bomber can hit, but since it does, I'm going to go ahead and double check, make sure there's nothing out there that be like, oh, you know what, we should go there. I really want to bomb some more, but I'm a little afraid to. Because we got to keep them under control. I think we'll leave that up to Jay to do, though. Just a little nervous to do it with these guys. So we got 4 going here. 1, 2, 3, 4. They can all get back up there, okay. We could hit him. I mean, got 13 units going there. Certainly we're going to get 2 dice. So our fighter stinks, so let's just do that. Maybe sweat a little bit there. I was really hoping not to get any headbacks, but it is what it is. Alright, look at the fighters. All hit when we don't really need them to. Fighters finally come through on 1 artillery. Now, we're going to give him all sorts of freedom with his fleets this turn, unfortunately, but... So we're going to be build. So we got 13 and 1. And we got 2 artilleries. 10 other guys. Give me 23, 3. I need my 4 tanks. to here. Those guys going up to there. We're going to build to... Oh, I hope we didn't. Okay. We're going to build to... We're going to give him... So, part of this that I should explain. We're going to give him the shot here where he can do his tank. 3 fighters, 2 bombers to hit Ukraine. It's actually profitable. But I'm hoping with my Air Force, all 5 Air Force plus, so we got 17 units here threatening Moscow, that maybe he has to leave. He can't stack both of these. I've not done any math on all this. He's got a lot of units. He might be able to stack both of them, which if he does, then they're toast, and then we're in trouble. But we're rolling with it right now. My brain doesn't want to think at the moment, so we're just rolling it. So there we go. Yeah, this is thin. We are going to have to fly at least 3 more fighters into here. So if he wipes these guys, which he very well could with the UK hit, we've got these 2, 1, and that leaves me a fighter bomber to go into West Russia to hold West Russia, which I don't think I calculated correctly now that I'm looking at it. I think I've left some people off. I did. Oh no. What's that going to make this look like now? 12. 1 artillery, 3 tanks, a fighter. Two, 1, 9, a fighter and a bomber. Yeah. We're giving him all sorts of chances to dice himself. I really want to get 2 or 3 Japan fighters into here. If he wipes these, I need 4 Japan fighters up there total. We got 2, 3, so 1 of these, that only gives me 1 going there. I really need 2. What's Ukraine? What's that look like if we have 1 less fighter there? And this is him doing 1 wave, going all in. If we've only got 7 fighters there, what's that look like? Not bueno. Yeah. So anyways, we're stretching things thin. We're going to give him every chance to try to shoot himself in the foot. But I just feel like we're still too far behind. There's not enough Japan ground units on the green, on the mainland for all the Russian units, even though we got these fighters skipping through. It's still not, yeah. We got to be able to do something here, and so this is what we're trying. I'm really pushing the limits here. We'll see if it works on them. All right, moving on into Japan here. So unfortunately we are in even worse shape, as he did take Ukraine or wiped Ukraine and the 2 fighters there. So this is going to make us give him a toss-up battle one way or the other that's in his favor, a big battle that's in his favor to going into it. So now it's just a matter of choosing where I want to do that, and I'm going to choose that to be West Russia. And we're going to hang our 9 tanks and a fighter and a bomber out to dry, basically. And we're going to hope the dice finally catch back up to us. So just a quick recap of the game so far. Round 1 dice were really bad for me. So it put me well behind. I think we said like 8 or 9 ground units on the main, the mainland here, and that's early on. That's a big deal. So I've been trying to find ways to get back into it. I did get a nice bomber fighter kill here and a carrier kill here, and he lost a fighter once taking France. So those were dice going my way, but still didn't make up for the 8-9 units. So I've been trying to set up spots of giving little battles that don't kill me if I lose them, but hoping to gain a unit here or there and a valuable unit here and there, starting when I put 4 infantry in a tank here. He hit it. It was like I don't know, like 60-70% chance he wins, but it was a even IPC battle because he had to use like 1 infantry, 3 tanks, and 1 or 2 fighters on it versus my 4 and 1. So, end result, he had 1, 50-50 would have been about even IPC wise, but I'm hoping that maybe I could skim 1 extra unit off being a tank. Instead, he ended up having 1 extra tank live than was expected. I took the 50-50 on the cruiser, lost a fighter. I set this up where the average result was me losing 2 infantry and 2 fighters, him losing a tank and 2 fighters. He lost 1 fighter and a tank. So where it would have been kind of evenish, he ended up getting but I was hoping maybe I'd get 1 extra hit in there. Instead, I got 1 less hit in there. So now things are starting to fall apart because I was needing those Japan fighters to make Karelia and West Russia safe, but with already being behind and further behind with a loss of a fighter here, short 2 units there and short 2 units here, 2 fighters for him and 2 tanks for him that I was hoping to hit. That's just all, it's stacking up and stacking up from that start off of 8-ish units behind to start the whole game in round 1. So it comes down to I'm going to have to give him a 60% battle at positive IPC, either in Russia attacking Germany or US attacking Germany up here. I'd rather Russia blow their units potentially, and hopefully the dice catch up to us, and they do exactly that, because we are trying to attack them, whereas US has no attack coming from behind them, so they just got to reinforce. So we're going to give Russia the shot to get blown up. Keeping my flow, I want to try to keep 9 infantry and 2 fighters coming. So there we go. I look back at what I'm currently I'm at 43. If I save 1, that will give me 44. I want to get to 47 to keep that same build going. I'm going to get that one, would be 45. I'm going to get that one as 46. And we're attacking here with 1 artillery, so we're hoping for a little bit of luck to be able to take that one. Question is, do I go ahead and bomb Moscow? I almost think I have to, because I need luck to help me out at this point in the game. And yeah, the bomber in here actually makes this slightly more IPC positive for him, so maybe I'd even put the bomber in there if it does live. But I think we do get a bomb, because we need help. And yeah. So that'll give me, let's see if I can pull this up here real quick. This is the battle I'm offering him in West Russia. So actually better chance I win, but it is going to be profitable for him on even results. And it starts on, so first round, basically he's accepting an even, and then 2 rounds and on, he's looking at a 4+ IPC value for him. So it's not horrible. It's definitely not what I want to give him. I don't really want to lose my tanks because we lose mobility in that. But, maybe he hits and the first round dice instead of getting 6 hitbacks, maybe I get 10 hitbacks. And instead of him getting 4 hits, maybe he only gets 3. That would be nice. So that's what we're playing for. Hopefully that kind of summarizes why I was making the decisions. Normally, I would have not given that Evinki battle. If the game was even, I would not have given that offer. I wouldn't have offered that up. I would not have offered up that Ukraine. I would not have taken the 50-50 there. Those were all ones that I gave up. I probably wouldn't have given him that Corellia shot that he ended up losing the fighter bomber on either, though. So we're trying to find ways to sneak into this game. Unfortunately, I think we took a good step back, depending on how West Russia goes. If he chooses to attack, he may end up deciding not to attack it because he does have momentum now. So we'll be able to grab these 2 guys next time. I guess I what I want to do with my boats. I'm not sure yet. Like I said, I think we do need to bomb. Walk into there. We need 8 fighters to land up here, or 8 total. So there's 7. 1, 2, 3, 4. The other one's going to go and land there. They've got nothing better to do, so might as well just make sure we hit them, because we've had some not so successful dice also. I'm just looking at what we can do. We could pull the destroyer and 3 subs into here, and he only has destroyer sub carrier 1, 2, 3, 4. He could send these fighters this way. We could set our subs to submerge, so if we get a hit, then maybe we have some subs to sneak back. I don't know. Is it worth it? Yeah, it's pretty clean kill he could get on that with 5 units attacking my 4 with 3 of them rolling 1s. And as it comes into the mistake I did make, so I did make a mistake here, and that was pushing into West Russia, leaving the Ukraine there, and just thinking that I probably will fork him here where he'd need to back out of Caucasus. Problem is I did that thinking hoping I'd have the 3 infantry live for 1, but also thinking I'd have my other 4 tanks in here, and I forgot I needed to pull them back in order to dead zone France, so that took a big chunk out of my attack power here. But I also forgot to consider the fact that he's got 6 fighters here, that all 6 of these can make it to either one of these. And then just, of course, he's got this massive Russian unit. So unfortunately, he's actually, if he really wants to, he can come forward and probably stack SekuN here on top of Kaza. So I'm in tough water here. Maybe he won't be able to. That might be stretching it a little bit, but maybe he will be able to. I'm not really sure. Actually, he probably can. We'd be stretching him away with me having 23 units coming down, so it'd be risky for him to do that, but he could. I think that's all of our attacks. Let's feel the 4s. Feel the force of 4s. There's a 4. Ooh, and a 5. Nice. We can definitely use that. wasn't watching my dice there. Yay, good job. I think we'll throw him up there. So that gives us 8. He's got 8, 9, and his fighter that can attack. So we're, oh, you know what? Let's throw him in there too. So that gives us 9 defending, 10 attacking with an AA. I don't think he takes that shot. Not when he can just stack other areas here. Unfortunately, we only got 6 we can put in here, and they're just going to get killed if I do that. So that gives us 20 units looking here. 26 with those guys. 27 if he counted him, but he'll be able to block that. Here, we'd actually just have the 20. Even they wouldn't be able to reach in the 1. And there's a whole bunch of infantry, so he could definitely stack there if he wanted to. It'd be aggressive, again, if he doesn't hit these guys and I move guys down. He could get himself into some trouble if he did that, but... Oh, I forgot about these guys. Don't want to forget about these guys. Now he could go sneaking back that way and I go chasing back and whatever. I could. So if I work a carrier back this way, then we could possibly get into a range where we could fly fighters. Like if we get them here, 1, 2, 3, 4. 1, 2, 3, 4. Yeah, if we get them into France, we could threaten that sea zone, or excuse me, Berlin. We could threaten that sea zone. We ever made a France stack again, but I don't think that's going to happen. We could threaten over there, so he does have his 2 bombers. I got my battleship carrier going there. Or I could just send another destroyer that way. I think I'll be happier with the carrier coming back. Yeah, we'll send a destroyer that way. If he does a bunch of sub drops, we do have the battleship carrier or cruiser in there, and I could always pull the destroyer back if I need to. All right. Let's keep our fingers crossed on West Russia. Not necessarily the battle I wanted to give him, but it's the battle we got to give him. And yes, with the 2 bombers and these guys being able to push in to here, the bombers can't go 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. So I just got to risk the battleship cruiser versus 2 bombers. I think it's only like a 20% shot for him, so I don't think he'd take that risk, but this is what the board looks like. Like I said, I wanted 1 more fighter in there. I wanted to be... I didn't do the math. I should have sat down and actually looked what the off chances of me splitting him was, since I wasn't able to. It may have been better to protect my fighters, but then I wouldn't have been able to stack here and here. But I could have stacked here and here, I guess. Oh well, I got to take those shots. I got to take those risks. Okay, so let's take a quick recap on round 6 for U.S. They bought a fighter which they built into C-Zone 3 to help with that fleet. He's worrying about the 5 German followed by 5 Japan strike that could hit there, so 10 that could hit there. He's got 4, battleship would count 5, 6, 7, and then he's got 8, 9, 10, 11 he can move into there. So it's not really a good battle, especially since you put the fighter there. He's also still just trying to stack this guy because I did leave my tanks in range. That we've got 25, 29, 30 units that could hit right in here. He's got 32. And his are defensive, so not really a great option for me. So now we got to look at what we're going to do. 1 with 27, 28, 29, 41, 43, 45 units of Russia staring down here. I'll kill this guy. My measly 12 could bring these guys in. Would be 24, 28, 36, 37, 38, 39, 40. Maybe we could stack it, but I got to really worry. That's a lot of green there that would follow the UK going in there. And I'm a little worried he could stack Karelia. I didn't do the math. I just got a feeling it's not there. Plus, we'd be leaving these guys behind for UK to hit. So that doesn't make sense at all. So we got to stack Karelia. So Karelia being stacked is a requirement this turn. West Russia, that means we can't stack West Russia, which means we need to have just enough to make this not a great idea, or make it at least a 50-50 battle again, where hopefully we can maybe knock out a 1 or 2 planes of UKs. If they hit with 2 infantry, 2 fighters, 2 bombers. So they'd have 6 going into there. So I'll probably have to put like 4 infantry into the defense, I imagine. Let's see, I'm running that real quick. That gives the value 86% chance he wipes at a minus 1.3. That's him losing 2 infantry and a fighter. So if we get 1 bonus hit, then he loses 2 fighter, and that's plus 4 IPC for us. And him losing 2 fighters versus us losing 1. So I don't think we'll be able to go less. So we're going to need to put at least 4 Germans in there. I'm okay if UK doesn't hit and we pull Japan out. If Russia wants to attack 4 infantry, that means he's got to use 4 of his ground for our 4 ground. And Russian and German ground are pretty much equal in value, so I'm okay with that. It won't be a super efficient trade, as it'll only have a fighter extra he could use, so to speak. I really looked at the option of stacking here and here, which we don't need any of the tanks of these guys, and we actually can stack here and here. Is an option, but in doing so, we would not be able to dead zone France, because he has 15 transports. Now, this guy can only grab 1, and these guys can only grab 7, but he's got 15 transports ready to shuck into there. And so it would require moving all of these forward, and we would have, like, after the trades here, we would have like 31, 32 ground and the 5 planes versus him having 30 ground and then 6 fighters on top of it, plus a couple of AAs in there. It didn't work out, to put it simply. So stacking Ukraine and Karelia kind of goes out the window because we give up France permanently in all likelihood. So that wasn't a great option. So, and that would be stacking these 3. So then we took a look at what would it look like if we stacked here, let these guys go, and then try to move more a group into the Baltics and mini stack these 3 so that the Russia doesn't, blitz for free ones in here. And that's doable. and we'd still be able to stack France, and we'd still be able to stack Berlin and still be able to dead zone France. So that's a possibility. Because we'd have all 13 tanks back between the Baltics and Poland, putting pressure, so we could squeeze out some infantry heading that way to help continue to stack Karelia. So that's an option. The one last option is can we stack Karelia and maybe northwest with a Berlin? And I'm going to say that I really think that's a no. I should probably do the math since I didn't do it on West Russia and paid for it. So let me just do that real quick. Yeah, I stopped doing the math. We probably could do it, but it would require sending these infantry backwards and not going to the front and sticking our tanks up here. And we wouldn't be able to put guys in here. So we'd be leaving Ukraine and, just a couple infantry in here. And so it would run the risk of them actually being able to stack Ukraine. As is, even with my mini stack idea here, they possibly could, but I'd feel a lot better about them not being able to. So, end of the day, I think I decided we stack here, little mini stacks here, get our mini stack here, just hopefully get a two fighter shot down of his planes, and a stack of Karelia. So what that's going to require buying, we're going to buy 12 infantry. We could have bought an artillery, but that one IPC comes important because currently we're sitting on 29. We're going to get France, which is 35. We're going to attack this lightly, so we may not get that. So saving the one gives me 36 to make sure that we can build 12 still next turn, unless, of course, he starts bombing again, which is certainly a possibility. So we're going to save the one, and the dead zone on France is still okay. So we're going to try and take this cheaply. And I think that's all of our attacks as I'm thinking about it. We got to keep the fighters up in Karelia, so we're not going to use them. We could attack here, but then my stacks start to get a little bit ishy. I wonder if we do one infantry. Can we do that? Yeah, I think we can do this. I think we can afford it. I may end up biting my words on that, but Northwest Europe's probably the biggest worry one, but we really need to. Of course, we need to win France. France is important to win, but our bombers are spot on. There you go. Fingers crossed, spinning around, facing west. Come on, artillery. You got this. There we go. Finish him. There we go. Nice. Ooh, and not even a hit back. What a round. That was a great one for us. If we get no hit back here, then that would make me feel nice. I won't say happy because we're still behind in this game. But I'd feel nice if we got a 3 for 3. Look at those fighters hitting. All right. Nice round, nice round, nice round. Well, we can't complain about anything about that round, that's for sure. double check all my numbers, make sure everything looks like it adds up okay, and I'll be right back. All right, so yeah, I think we're going to continue to be just a little bit riskier because I think we need to be just a little bit riskier. I'm not bothering to put a unit in here at all because UK could just destroy it anyways, wipe it pretty quickly and easily. I mean, I suppose I could put one, and that would be less likely that it would hit here. It's not bad either. You know what? That way, he'd have to use his air to hit there instead of hitting West Russia. Gives his air something else to do. All right, all these spaghetti noodles is giving me a headache. I really don't know if I did this right. This is why I don't. This is the biggest reason I don't like playing Axis is because I hate playing Germany just because of all this. My brain hurts thinking about all of this. But anyways, we're just gonna go with it. Trust we didn't make a major mistake, which is a big trust. And we'll see where it goes. All right, here we go. So there is no J7 turn. As you can see, it says Axis victory. My opponent did resign in between this past turn. I was a little surprised by it, and I still think he had a strong position here. As you guys know, I've been saying we had a disastrous first round of dice, and then been trying to call back it. We had some great ones when he lost a fighter bomber attacking Karelia. He lost his carrier cruiser attacking that battleship. That was a great round for us. That helped. He lost a U.S. fighter trying to trade France at one time. And then I didn't really show it, but twice trying to trade Burma, he lost a infantry artillery with no hits. So he lost 2 infantry, 2 artillery on Burma twice with 0 hits on those. So that was good. On the flip side, I had been trying to bait him into a dice battle to try and get back in it, starting when I had that 4 infantry and a tank up here, which he was going to have to hit with a bunch of tanks and a fighter. In that case, he got 1 less hit on a tank than was expected by 50-50 dice, and I was hoping to get above average dice, so I ended up 2 tanks less than I was hoping for on that. And then we had the Ukraine battle where I left my fighters here, and I was hoping to get the average of 50-50 was that I'd get 2 hits on his UK air, and I only got 1 hit, and I was hoping for 3. I was hoping to get a little dice average. So another, really 2 planes on that one. And then over here, when I attacked his cruiser, went for the 50-50, I was hoping not to get a hit back. Of course, on my dice, he missed on the first one, and all my dice missed as well. But he got to hit the second time, so I lost 1 fire there. So those were the type of things I was trying to do to pull in more hits backs for me to slowly pull in and pull out some of those tanks and fighters and whatnot. But in this case, it was leaving the 4 infantry and 1 fighter here, and, well, this is what he got. He had gotten the 1 hit, but then my 2 infantry, 2 fighters, and 2 bombers got 5, or excuse me, my 4 infantry and 1 fighter got 5 hits. So we went 5 for 5, hitting 2 infantry, 2 fighters, and a bomber on that first roll of dice. And so that was enough to say he was done at that point. I do feel like he could have. I do feel like he still had a very strong strong game here. I was starting to build up my Japan Air Force. So it was going to start getting hard. But in any case, that's a wrap on this game. That's a W for the Axis, and I'm going to move into ranked games next since my team season, regular season, is over. We're not sure if we're going to make it to the playoffs yet or not. I got to sit and wait a few weeks on that. And while I'm waiting on that, I'm going to go ahead and get some ranked games in and do some recordings on some Axis play.